with what? Yesterday we started with building blocks of Python programming, then followed by some of the concepts like what are the things that will go wrong. So like what is syntax error, logical error, what is semantic error, and so on. After that, we discussed about exception handling, isn't it? Today we'll continue from there. Today we'll see a few more concepts. So yesterday, so building blocks of Python is over. What could possibly go wrong? That is syntax errors, logical errors, and semantic errors. Then also yesterday we discussed about debugging. So what is the basic definition of debugging, students? Debugging is the art of fixing the errors. So those errors can be logical errors or syntactic errors or any other errors. So you have to fix it. That is called debugging. So what is the procedure that we may have to follow to debug the errors? We should analyze the code and we should run the code. Then we get an idea about, so what is the error, what is its root cause, then we can fix the error. Based upon the nature, by looking at the nature of the error, we can fix it. Then we studied about exception handling. So why this exception handling is needed, students?
To avoid errors, sir, warning.
Yeah, at what time? At compile time or run time?
Compile time, sir.
Yeah, sometimes system may throw an error or warning during runtime. To overcome that, so we go with exception handling technique. It's a technique to deal with such errors which will happen during runtime. Today we will see inbuilt functions, operators, Python keywords, and random numbers. So before that, so tell me, what are the keywords that are associated with exception handling? Is it a try and catch?
Try and accept, sir.
Try and accept. Okay. Okay, now let us see some of the most commonly used built-in functions. So which are the most commonly used built-in functions in Python programming? So when you do general purpose programming, so there are certain inbuilt functions that we use very frequently. So those are max, minimum, and length. Those are the inbuilt functions available in Python. So max means, as the name indicates, so within the given list, it will display the one which is having the maximum number, in case if you are dealing with the numbers. And in case if you are dealing with the characters and strings, it will look at the character which is having the maximum ASCII value. It will look at the character that has maximum ASCII value. Now look at this. Look at these examples. So look at the first example: max of 10, 20, 14, and 12. So that means within the max we have a list of elements 10, 12, 14, and 20. So among those, we know that 20 is the maximum. So max will return always the biggest number in case if you are dealing with numbers. And same thing is true in case if you are dealing with real numbers, that is floating point numbers or long integers or doubles. Then look at the second example, max of hello world. So hello world is a string which contains two words separated by a blank character. Now since it is a string, it will look at each character and it will assess which is the character having the highest ASCII value. So in this case, W is the word having highest ASCII value. So therefore it will pick W as the outcome of max function. Got it, students? When you deal with number, the highest value number will be returned as the output. When you deal with characters and strings, the character with highest ASCII value will be returned as the output. Then similarly we have a min function. Similarly, so the min is exactly opposite to that of the max function. So when you deal with the numbers, it will return the number which is the smallest, that is the minimum value, which is the one having the minimum value. Similarly, when you deal with the characters and strings, it will return the character that has got the least ASCII value. So now if we apply that min to hello world, which is a string, it will pick blank character as the return, that is the output. It will return blank character because blank character having the least ASCII value compared to remaining characters in that string. Got it, students? So that blank character is indicated within single quote. Space has the least ASCII value here. So that's why it is returned. Next function is the length function. This function takes a single argument and finds its length. The argument can be a string, list, tuple, or anything. So whatever the data structure you pass as the argument, it will take, you pass any data structure, it will take that single argument and it will return its length. Here straight away we are passing, instead of passing the value, instead of passing the variable name, directly we are passing the value. Hello, how are you? Including all the blank characters, it contains 18 characters. That is the length. So the length function returns always the length, and it can take one argument, which can be string, list, tuple, or any other data structure, any other sequence data structure. Any doubts, students? How to apply max, min, and length? Now let us have a quick look on keywords available in Python. So, and is a keyword. So to perform the AND operation, we can use AND. Say for example, so I'll initialize A is equal to true and B is equal to false. I'll take two variables, A is equal to true and B is equal to false. If I perform A and B, this is A and A and, okay, not ampersand, it is A and A and, it will return true and false, false. Similarly, there is OR, one more keyword, that also you can use it as an OR operator. So when A is true and B is false, if you apply OR operation, what is the outcome? True or false? What is the outcome? Hello? Hello? Ashok, Vaishnavi, Sunil, Srinidhi. Hello?
Sir,
Yeah. Tell me, what is the output? When A is equal to true and B is equal to false, when you are applying OR operation between A and B, what is the outcome?
True, sir.
True. When you apply AND operation?
False.
False. That is always true and false results in false, whereas true or false results in true. Similarly, as we have, as that one more keyword, assert, break, class, continue, def, del, elif is nothing but the shortcut for else if, else, exit, false, finally, for, global, if, import, in, is, lambda, none, non-local. So look at none here, there the n is capital, none. Where we can use none is, say for example, if you want to declare that there is no default value to a variable within the function. That means let us assume you are defining one function definition. Then to specify very strictly that there is no default value for that variable, then you can declare that value is equal to none while defining the function. For example, def function of x is equal to none. That means we are very strictly telling to the interpreter that for x there is no default value. That is called as none. Similarly, we have non-local, not, or, pass, raise, return, true, try, while, with, and yield. So among these keywords already we have used and, break, then continue we have used, def for defining the functions, and del also we have used already while dealing with the lists and tuples. Elif we have used, else we have used, exit, false, and finally. Students, tell me where we used finally in the C++. When the finally block will execute in C++? When you are dealing with exception handling, when you want to compulsorily execute some block of statement, irrespective of whether the exception will be caught or not. So certain piece of code can be executed compulsorily. That is called finally block. Okay, here also for the same purpose use finally. Then we have used import. What for we use import keyword, students? Hello, anyone?
To add
To import
library
module.
module.
You should not say to add the library. That is also correct, but very specifically. See, while answering, if somebody is asking you the question, while answering, it is always better if you answer very much specifically. So import is a keyword which is used to import the modules. To import modules, we use import keyword. In. Have you used in keyword?
For loop, sir. In for loop.
Yes. Then
To specify
where else we have
range.
used? Where else we have used?
In for to specify the range.
To specify the range. Okay. Is. I'll tell you an example for is, and also the definition of is. Today, anyhow, we are going to discuss about the operators. I'll tell you what is. The meaning of is same as. For example, if A is B, that means if A is same as B, then the condition is true. Similarly, there is not is. If you combine is with not, if A not is B, that means if A is not same as B, if the value of A is not same as B, that's the meaning. And lambda. So lambda, it's a keyword which works like a function that I'll show you with example in tomorrow's lab. Tomorrow we have a lab. So in that I'll show you how to use lambda function. Then none, as I told, none is the keyword that we use to specify the value of the variable. That means the variable doesn't contain default value. Then non-local, to indicate any variable that it is not a local variable, we use non-local. Then not. So not means we know that the meaning is negation. Or pass. Pass, I told you about the pass keyword. So while talking about the looping structures, the pass is a keyword in Python which is used to indicate do nothing. Say for example, after meeting certain condition, if you want to specify the interpreter not to take any action, then you can write pass. Pass means do nothing. Then raise keyword, so far we have not used. Let us see. Then return, true, try, while. With also we have not used, and yield is the keyword which we have not yet used. We'll see. Okay, when we'll use that. Now we'll move on to next concept, that is operators and operands. So how do you differentiate operator and operand? What is operator and what is operand? Students?
Operands are the two symbols to perform a specific task.
Operands are the two symbols. No, you are not. You are wrong. Operator is a special symbol that performs a well-defined task. Say for example, and it will perform and operation. Okay, you have a caret symbol. You can look at here, bitwise operator caret. It will perform XOR operation. And if you put 2 greater than symbol, that is right shift. Similarly, you have a left shift. So those are the bitwise operators. So it will do, that means each operator is a special character which will do some meaningful task or a specific task. But what is operand? Operators will operate on operands. Say for example, A and B. Which are the operands? A and B are the operands, and operator is and will operate on A and B, isn't it? That means always operators will operate on operands. Operands are the variables which hold some value, isn't it? So let us see which are the bitwise operators. We have bitwise AND, OR, NOT, XOR, right shift and a left shift. Just like your C and C++, here also we have all these operators. And we have some special operators, that is and is not. Okay, the meaning of is that, for example, I'll show you how we can write example. Hello. Hello, students. Internet, actually, that was a problem with the internet. Okay. When it went off, can you tell me where, what I was telling? Did I tell about logical operators? Hello?
No, sir.
Um, what about relational operators? Okay, I'll start with relational operators. So whatever the relational operators that we have in C and C++, we here also we have all those relational operators.
Screen is not present.
Screen, 1 minute. Not shared. Relational operators available are greater than, less than, greater than or equal to, less than or equal to, not equal to, and equal to operator. So equal to is, that is 2 times equal to, that is we also call it as exactly equal to. And we have two special relational operators, that is and not. So these two are extra addition in Python, which you don't have in C and C++. The meaning of is that is same as, and the meaning of not is, the meaning is the value of left side variable is not same as the value of the right side variable. That's the meaning of not is. Next, logical operators. We have 3 logical operators, and or not, which will perform the operations and operation, or operation and not operation. And to specify and, it is not ampersand, it is and. Similarly, or and not. So not is nothing but the negation. Look at the example. Here in this example, actually, instead of what we can do with if condition, we are doing with print statement. So how you can see here. So I have initialized x is equal to true and y is equal to false, and print of x and y is x and y. So this is the expression. X and y is the expression. True and false results in x and y is false. Then print x or y is, then perform the then evaluate the expression x or y. That is true or false is true. That is x output is x or y is true. Like that, you can evaluate the expressions even within print statement also. So most of the times, whenever we write expressions, we write it in conditional. You write it as a conditional statement. But even using the print statement also, it is possible to evaluate the expressions like this. Next concept is random numbers. So Python has a module which is called as the random for generation of random numbers. Students, first of all, you need to understand what is the meaning of random numbers. If anyone asks you tell any 5 numbers, then simply whatever comes to our mind will tell 10, 25, 30, 46, 50 like that. But at the same time, especially with respect to programming, you need to understand under what instances we may have to use random functions. We call it as random number generation. Especially with ADA lab, whenever you do some programs, say you have written an algorithm which will sort n numbers. For that, you have written an algorithm. So when the n value is 5, 10 or 20, you can pass input from the keyboard. That is feasible. But when you're dealing with very huge data sets, say for example, 1 lakh, you want to sort 1 lakh numbers. Especially when you're dealing with the employees' data in a company or something like that, where you need to deal with thousands of lakhs of records. So sorting is not so easy at that time. So means when it is not feasible for you to deal with keyboard input, at that time we generate random numbers. Now in the lab, if I ask you to write an algorithm to sort 1 lakh numbers, so what do? You cannot keep entering the input all the time. So you have to use the random function. Okay. So in Python, there is a module, inbuilt module, that is a random module. And to support that, there is a function, that function name is also random. By using the random, so first to generate the random numbers, we have to import the random module. Here is the syntax to import the random module. You can see here we have used the import keyword, import random. That means module random is imported. Then how to generate the random numbers? Random. So the first random is module name dot function name. Function name is also random. In JavaScript, we have rand, math.rand. We use math.rand. There, math is a module and rand is a function. So here, similarly, we use random module dot random function to generate the random value. So by default, it will generate some value which is in the range 0 and 1, but not 1. It will not display 1. So it will generate some value which is in the range 0 and 1. Look at here, it is generating 0.7430 and something, and here it is generating 0.52. That means each time when you execute random.random within print statement, it will display some value within the range 0 and 1. Now, how to convert this into decimal? So you can do, say, for example, into 10. Okay, that is one thing. So what is the better thing is, so there is one more variant of random numbers, that is randint. We can use that. If you use that randint function, you can specify the range in which you want to display or in which you want to generate the random numbers. Like this. You can see here random.randint. So random is a module which also contains one more function called randint. It will accept two integer parameters, which will accept the low and high range. It takes two arguments, low and high, and returns a random integer between these two arguments. See, in this example, I am specifying 2, 20. Random.randint of 2, 20. That means generate some random value or random number within the range 2 and 20. So it has generated 14. Similarly, when I execute it for the next time, it has generated 10. That means it will generate some value in between 2 and 20. Now tell me, what is the difference between random and randint? Students, what is the difference between random function and randint?
We can provide some range.
Yeah. So always it is advantageous if we specify the range. Otherwise, simply it will generate. And when you use random function, it will generate only within the range 0 and 1, but not 1. So it will be decimal value. Next, one more function which is also part of random module is choice function. This function takes a sequence, that is a list type in Python of numbers as an argument, and returns one of these numbers as a random numbers. That means, say for example, you want to generate some, say, even number. Okay, you want to generate one even number within the range 2 and 10. Then what you will do, you will enter 2, 4, 6, 8 and 10. From those 2, 4, 6, 8 and 10, it will display any one number that we call as choice. Choice function takes a sequence of numbers as an argument and returns one of these numbers as a random number. For example, first let us create a list. So I am creating a list with the values 1, 2, -3, 45, 12, 7, 31 and 22. So I am naming this list as T. So therefore a list T is created. Now within this range of numbers, I have to select one number as a random number. So I am applying random.choice of T. T is the list, existing list. So it is picking 12. Similarly, when I execute it for the next time, it is picking 1. Next time it may pick 31 or something like that. Randomly it will pick. Students, do you have any idea what are the applications of random numbers where you can use? Real time, can you tell me some real time scenarios, practical scenarios? You think about
OTP.
practicals, huh? Yes, to generate OTP numbers. Very good. Then CAPTCHA. To generate CAPTCHA, we can use random, like alphanumeric values, isn't it? So, say for example, you can run separately generate alphabets and characters, and then you can merge and you can make it one CAPTCHA or something like that. Or to generate the OTP, you can go with random numbers. Then, what are the other applications, students? Think something different.
So in dice game,
Yeah, in dice game, isn't it? So you until you throw the dice, you don't know what value may come. So it is always some random value, but there is a range, isn't it? Yes. Then, say for example, so you are doing a programming, say, of ad hoc networks. So and the area is given to you. So you and they are asking you to place the sensors randomly to sense some environment related information like temperature or something like that. So that means here we should follow random distribution, isn't it? So there also we can use random numbers. See, I think you have heard about in probability and statistics, some of the techniques like random distribution, Gaussian distribution, normal distribution, and so on. So those are all some of the applications of random numbers. Okay, always the concept of random numbers is very useful in real-time scenarios. Students, that's it for today. Anything you want to ask? What are the new concepts we learned today? Today we learned about
keywords.
built-in functions, keywords, operators, then random numbers. Tomorrow, once again, we'll meet in the lab session. Tomorrow we have a lab session. I think tomorrow we don't have theory, isn't it? Do we have theory tomorrow? No, tomorrow we don't have theory class. We have lab session, I think. Tomorrow we meet in the lab session. Thank you, students.
Thank you, sir.
Then don't forget to send yesterday's assignment to the Google Classroom.
Okay, sir.
Okay, thank you. 1 minute. Hello, 1 minute. Everyone, I'll take
Sir, attendance.
Yeah, I'll take attendance. USN, yeah, start with 1BY. 1,
Present, sir.
2,
Present, sir.
3,
Present, sir.
4,
Yes, sir.
5,
Present, sir.
6,
Yes, sir.
7,
Present, sir.
8,
Present, sir.
9, Students, today we are facing more problems with the internet. So once again, I'll call with USN 9.
Present, sir.
9 present. 10,
Present, sir.
11,
Present, sir.
12,
Present, sir.
13, 14, 15, 16,
Present, sir.
17,
Present, sir. 17
18,
present, sir.
18,
18 present, sir.
19,
Present, sir.
20,
Present, sir.
21, 22,
Present, sir.
23,
Present, sir.
24,
Yes, sir.
25,
Yes, sir.
26, 27,
Yes, sir.
28, 29, 30,
Present, sir.
then TD series 1, 2,
Present, sir.
26,
3,
present, sir.
Present, sir.
okay, BY series, right? Okay, 3, TD
Three
series
present,
3,
sir.
4,
Present, sir.
5, 6,
6 present, sir.
7,
Present, sir.
8, 9,
Present, sir.
10, 11,
Yes, sir.
12,
Present, sir.
13,
Present, sir.
14,
Yes, sir.
15, 16,
Present, sir.
17,
Yes, sir.
18,
Present, sir.
19, 20,
Present, sir.
21, 22, 21 absent,
Present, sir.
21 present,
22 present, sir.
21 absent, okay. 23.
Present, sir.
Nilanjan Biswas is there. Nilanjan, who is his friend? Huh? Who is Nilanjan's friend?